Now, say my name.
The Rolling Bad Podcast.
You're goddamn right.
Welcome to the Rolling Bad Podcast, episode number 71, coming to you from the desolate wastelands of Albuquerque, New Mexico. We're recording on Sunday, June 30th, and you could fix that, but you didn't fix the number of the episode.
Yeah, pretty much.
Cool. Yeah. I am your host, Elric Edge, and with me tonight is...
the unprepared Bill Costello.
Yeah, apparently.
Yeah.
I like how that's how we do the show every time. I introduce it like, yeah, it's me, as usual. And then with me tonight is this random guy that happens to be the exact same person that's always here.
Every time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know why I do that.
I don't know.
It's because of how you...
Probably because the script says.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm sorry.
It's following the script.
You know what's really funny?
Huh.
I didn't change anything but the date. So the fact that we're recording on another Sunday, we just got lucky.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, so we just got lucky. That's all.
All right. I'll take it.
Sweet.
All right. So we're going to talk some, I guess, Age of Sigmar.
Yeah. Oh.
That's what all the kids are talking about these days.
I thought we'd hit some ninth age.
Ooh. On that keto kick.
Yeah.
So today was a big day.
Yes.
For the Warhams.
Yeah.
It would almost be like it was Warhammer Day.
Almost. Well, yesterday was
yesterday.
Warhammer Day.
Whatever.
Yeah.
All right. They don't need to know that.
No.
Except that we announced it at the top of the show.
Top of the show.
Whatever.
Yeah. See,
yesterday was Warhammer Day.
Yay!
Yay. What does that mean?
Opportunity to sell stuff?
It's just like, it didn't signify anything, did it? Because the anniversary of Age of Sigmar is in a few days.
Yeah, yeah.
Not yesterday.
Not yesterday, but I think it was Warhammer Day because they were rolling out Apocalypse. You know, that was the pre-order day. So, and, you know, they had those limited edition objective markers, but honestly, like the other limited stuff that you could get on Warhammer Day, the Sister Battle and the Funko Pop.
Yeah.
Both of those are normal orders. You can order them. I mean, the initial shipment was probably gone through, but they're still going to be available for order. So the only thing that I think was special to Warhammer Day was the pin that you got and the little set of cards and the ability to buy those objective tokens.
Yeah, I'm very, very happy that Sister Superior Amalia Novena is not a limited thing.
Right.
Because I want one.
Mm-hmm. I hear you. She's a very nice model.
Yeah.
Very nice model. And it's the first of the oncoming tide. Yay!
Yeah, whenever that finally gets here.
There's so much speculation all over the place.
What are you feeling?
Well, someone brought up an interesting point on one of the Twitters that if they have a production line that spit her out, chances are that wasn't a one-off thing. Chances are the production line did all the Sisters of Battle for whatever time it took to get them done. So they might actually be in that boxing process. So
July.
It might be soon. Yeah, I mean, I don't know.
Oh, my.
But like you said, you know, are you gonna dedicate a production line to just one model and then move back to, you know, Sylvaneth or something?
Well, I don't know. They keep coming out with those limited edition store opening models and anniversary models and all that crap. It's so difficult to get a hold of, and which would be fine, but they're such sweet effing models.
I know.
Like, come on, man. I hate how hard those things are to get a hold of.
Yeah, it's terrible.
I don't even have Stormcast, and I would like to have
that model.
That model, so
beautiful.
But
hey, so we just have to wait for our store anniversary, which is in February. God.
Yeah, it's going to be a minute.
Yeah, hot minute. But who knows? Maybe another store. I don't know when the Denver store does theirs. Or the Phoenix store.
Phoenix, yeah.
Yeah.
Those are the closest ones.
Yeah, pretty much. Oklahoma City's a ways out. So
there is a store. Yeah, I forgot there is a store in Oklahoma City.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
That's only 10 hours away.
Yeah, so close.
Well, no, it's not even that. 8 hours.
Okay.
Yeah, that's right, UK listeners.
Road trip.
8 hours away is kind of just down the street when you live in the Southwest.
Tip of Scotland, to
Yeah.
London. Yeah.
Pretty much.
For us, that's a normal.
That's just a day drive with the boys.
To get to a, 2-day event.
To go pick up a model.
Or, yeah. Which, incidentally, I got a note that our buddy Ryan yesterday, out of nowhere, decided to drive 3.5 hours to come down for Warhammer Day just to get the models and the stuff that was available on Warhammer Day. So, yeah, he did a 7-hour round trip just to pick up those models.
That he could have ordered online anyways.
Yeah, let's not tell him that.
Oh, Ryan. Oh, buddy.
Oh, yeah. So it was just, he's in the middle of that first baby thing, so his time is
Panic
precious.
is setting in.
Yeah.
The hopelessness draws near. The vast void approaches.
Yes.
Yeah. Or, having a kid. Whatever.
Tax shelter.
Yeah. So that was pretty much it, huh, for Warhammer Day? Was those three things?
Yeah, the Funko Pop, the naked Funko Pop, and the sister battle, and the brass objective markers.
Have you thought about are you going to paint that? Please tell me you're going to paint.
Oh, yeah. Oh, the Funko?
Yeah.
I'm going to paint. I still really don't know how I want to do it.
Really?
Yeah, because, I really, my heart tells me they already have a Blood Angel, so that kind of ship sailed.
Right.
So I'm thinking about, Raven Guard, my other love.
That's kind of what I figured.
Yeah, but, a Funko Pop all black?
Black Templar.
Yeah, same thing.
That's how I would paint one.
If it had a beaky head, I would definitely do it with the
Raven Guard.
So,
I was thinking Imperial Fist.
No, I'm sure you were.
Yeah.
Yeah. He'd be actually easier to do because you can spray that yellow.
You could. You could. You could do Crimson Fist, and then he could just die over and over and over again.
Sure.
That'd be great.
Awesome.
So what else have you been up to? Other than standing in line at the GW store.
That's pretty much it. Yeah. Just a ton of stuff. Ton. So I had a friend come out from Washington, D.C. You'll hear an interview with Matt Tucker a little bit later on in the show because he came out here. He came out to visit family, but he was close enough to come by. And we had a game Friday night and had a nice dinner. And it was a pretty great day overall. And we play tested a Nova scenario. So that was a lot of fun. We actually had a really great time doing it. So it's been quite the weekend. That was Friday, and then Warhammer Day was yesterday, and we're recording today. My life is just full of Age of Sigmar and 40K.
Yeah. Little plastic army, man.
It's a good thing. So should we move on to the new stuff?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think so.
So what has gone up what got released this week?
Released this week was only the Forbidden Powers for Shadespire. The new cards for Shadespire, the end of the Night Vault releases.
So season 2 or whatever.
Yeah, season 2 pretty much came to an end. They've announced season 3.
So what happens when you buy that deck? What does that deck entail?
It has some universal cards that anybody can use.
Okay.
And then it has a couple of faction-specific cards for everything in the faction list from Night Vault.
So are these cards that already existed?
No, most of these are new.
Oh, Jesus.
So, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, but when you think about it, they're reasonably inexpensive. So it's not like they're trying to kill you for the cards. I forgot what they cost. But it's just a 1 pack of cards. So
okay.
they're not too bad.
For all you Underworldians.
Yeah. And it's fun.
I still have to play it.
Yep, we do. I got your KO built. We got to get it on the table and run through a game or two just so you get a feel for really whether you love it or hate it.
Yeah.
There's a lot of fun to it. There's a lot of great aspects to Night Vault or Shades. You know that game, Warhammer Underworlds? Yeah.
That's the one.
Mm-hmm. Of course, the elephant in the room, the pre-order this week, is 40K Apocalypse.
What's that?
I don't know. I think it's just it's just something those 40K guys do.
It's for playing like small games of skirmish
it's games. It's like a skirmish kind of thing for 40K. No, actually, if you've watched the videos, like the Becca Scott did a video on how to play, and they've been kind of pushing it on the Twitch TV. It looks amazing, and it's a completely different game system. I mean,
yeah, I've seen some of the, what do they call them, data slates, and they do have some like different stats, and apparently use like whole different dice.
Yeah,
because I saw Abaddon saves on a 3-up while rolling a 12-sided die.
Yep.
I thought that was pretty tasty.
Well, I mean, just think about it. They eliminated toughness from the stat line completely.
Oh, really?
So, yeah, what they've done is they've folded all of the things that would entail toughness and your save into one save roll just to save time. Because, the current methodology would be roll the dice to attack, roll the dice to wound, roll the dice to save, okay, and then start, potentially roll dice for damage or apply damage. That takes a considerable amount of time when you're talking about
10,000 points on each side, yeah.
Or even 3,000 or 2,000 points. So by switching toughness and merging it kind of with the save and with the armor stuff, in order to achieve that granularity that you need to have a range of results, they switch to a D12. And you also save several rolls during a turn. And, one of the other things about Apocalypse, and it was interesting, when you think about it, Apocalypse, this set of rules, is now very much like the old Epic game.
Really?
Yeah. Except you're playing with much, much bigger models.
Right.
So instead of the 10mm scale, we're at 28. So you can use the same stuff. And I was, like I said, when Adeptus Titanicus came out, I was kind of bummed that it didn't have infantry. It was just Titans.
Yeah.
But now that I see that they have rolled Epic into Apocalypse, I'm super jazzed. Super jazzed. This is going to be basically epic. You're going to be able to fight really big battles. And you can watch the battle report they have on Twitch TV. It's not cumbersome. Units die as a unit, not, individual models. So those movement trays they make it easy to pick up your toys and, go home, mate.
Really?
Yeah.
I'm going to have to check this out.
Yeah, what you do is when you do damage to a unit, you're just basically putting tokens on it. That's going to determine how it works on its save when you get to the damage phase at the end. So even if you put a lot of damage on a unit, if it saves them all, it doesn't care. But those damage tokens does affect its firing or its combat later on in the game. So, it's always good to put damage on a unit, but it might not just go away. Or you could put one damage token on something and it fails and it goes away. Huh. So it's kind of a neat system. And, I'm oversimplifying it a little bit, but it's very cool. I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah.
That's why I'm buying up all the orcs I can find.
Yeah, I'm definitely looking forward to it too. Apocalypse for me has always been that thing that sounds fun. Somebody suggests everybody plays it.
Yeah.
So you get prepared for it. You spend a couple weeks getting ready for it. And then, everybody's getting jazzed about their lists and being able to put all their toys down. And then the day comes and everybody spends, forever putting their stuff down and talking about it. And then you start playing and some a-hole came to break the game.
Yes.
Because they think they're super clever.
Yeah.
And it basically just ruins all this prep time and everything for everybody at the table.
Right.
And then it's over. And everybody leaves with feel bads.
Yeah.
Until 6 to 12 months later, somebody makes this suggestion again.
And everybody gets pumped.
Completely forgot about how terrible it was. And so hopefully, maybe the rules have helped remove some of that. I don't necessarily know how you would do that.
All of it. Well,
other than just
by changing the way
that guy to play next time.
No, you can have that guy. by changing the way damage works. So yeah, first of all, it's a we go system, and they've gotten rid of the I go you go. So the turns are a lot more interactive. You're always doing something.
Yeah.
And also, all damage is applied after the end of the turn, at the very end of the turn. So even if I put a whole bunch of damage tokens on your super cool Forge World, Thunderhawk or whatever big thing you brought, it will still get to participate in at least one turn of the game. You'll be able to use it.
That's another thing that always created the feel bad.
Oh yeah.
Thing was somebody brought their big, cool, super heavy, and then they were just so easy to get rid of.
Yeah.
The other team would focus on it the first turn
and
blow it up, and it just never got to do anything.
Right.
Or, because I used to play guard, and everybody hated when I would play Apocalypse because I'd bring all my tanks, which meant that I had the most insane amount of shooting round one.
Yeah.
And if my scatter die was on fire, which it usually was,
oh boy,
the other team would just lose so much stuff in that opening volley that they were on the back foot from there on out. And so yeah, it would be cool to see.
Yeah,
they still get to shoot back and take off your stuff too. So
oh yeah, and it makes it worthwhile to bring those things because now they are damage soaks. And it makes sense to shoot at that thing quite a bit and put a lot of damage markers on it. But when do you stop? When do you think you've done enough to make it go away?
Yeah.
Because you don't. It's not like each one of them is 1 point of damage. It's not. So it's a very neat system. It's very innovative. I like it a lot. I can't wait to try it. I can't wait to get all my toys.
Yeah.
Because I pre-ordered some of it. I didn't pre-order any of the detachments. I was really proud of myself.
Well, now you definitely got to get the Orc one because it's all walkers.
3 Stompas.
Yep, and all those killicans. What is it? 3 Def Dreads and 9 killicans or something like that?
I thought it was just 3 Stompas.
No, it's a bunch of killicans and Def Dreads.
Okay, I'm an idiot then.
Because the Stompa is huge.
Yeah.
Yeah, no,
it's more than that, huh?
I'll have to check it out.
Okay.
I definitely want to get my mitts. I'm going to try. I don't know if I'll be able to pull it off, but I want to get the Chaos Marine one.
Oh, man, yeah.
Because,
those are some gorgeous deals on those detachments. So.
I'm really surprised you didn't get the Knight box.
I have enough Knights. I don't need more.
Do you?
Yes.
Oh,
yes,
Bill.
I have enough.
With Apocalypse coming out, I have enough Knights.
Okay, I have 1, 2, 7. I have 7 Knights. The two of the big Knights, so that's 9. The one I already have done, that's 10. So I have 10 Knights. Oh, and I forgot Canis Rex. So I have 11 Kniggets.
It hardly seems like an Apocalypse. Is that counting the Armigers as like regular?
No, that's not Helverins and Armigers. Not at all. So I think.
All right. Maybe I'll let you go then.
Okay. So that's now the pre-orders for this week are sort of, I don't know, it's the Trader Command for Blackstone Fortress.
Yeah, so which will look fantastic. And I don't know, it's a little frustrating. I would imagine it has to deal with how successful it is. But why is the 40K version of Warhammer Quest getting so much stuff?
Yeah.
And the fantasy version just went tits up.
I think it's because Blackstone Fortress has made the jump into mainstream gaming. It's not just in the 40K circles that it's being noted and bought as a game.
Really?
Other more mainstream game channels are covering it. So, stuff on like Geek and Sundry and Watch It Played and all that stuff are doing Blackstone Fortress things. So, or at least, having it on there. So it's getting more widespread audience. So it's selling.
That's interesting because Warhammer Quest is like one of those games that got a whole generation into tabletop gaming.
I know.
It's kind of like Mage Knight or Dawn of War kind of stuff that made a bridge the gap for a lot of people.
Yeah.
So you would think that those people would be more keen to play the fantasy
I know.
versions.
Well, I think if it does hit the mainstream a little more, they'll start looking for, oh, there's another game that's set in the fantasy. Let's try that one.
Maybe.
And so I think it'll spread. But right now, I think they want to put their money where the hotness is.
Yeah. I want to play it.
Yeah.
I want to play it so bad.
Oh, Blackstone, I do too.
Because for me, I mean, it's two things. One, it's a sweet board game.
Mm-hmm.
And two, it's Rogue Traders.
Yeah.
Which is like my favorite aspect of 40K.
Sure.
So maybe that's why it's so successful.
Could be.
Because they're finally embracing Rogue Traders as a thing in the game.
And there's a lot of throwback to it. I mean, there is a lot of throwback in that set.
Yeah.
So.
Damn it. Yeah.
We should set aside a night a week, or every couple of weeks, and just get you, me, Andrew, maybe Pam, if she wants to do it, and just start up a campaign. Because it's easy to track, and yeah.
Yeah, definitely. Well, I mean, also should probably just play Age of Sigmar at some point, too, but.
Why? You can just talk about it. It's the same.
Yeah, that's true.
I'm sorry. The other thing that's up for pre-order is Chaos Knights. I should have prefaced this whole thing by saying the pre-orders for Age of Sigmar are
non-existent.
Yeah, you can just fast forward if you want. So, yeah. So Chaos Knight Codex is coming out, so the Chaos Knights are getting some love.
Yeah.
Most of this stuff revolves around the 40K and Apocalypse release, but the Primaris Repulsor Executioner is coming out, the Scorpius Disintegrator, the hovercraft for Skitarii.
You see the rules on that thing?
I did not.
Oh, my God.
Is it good?
So the transport one is, I think, a little underwhelming. I don't know. It seems fairly affordable points-wise, which is unfortunate because it's like $110 or something for the kit.
Oh, boy.
Yeah, it's pretty expensive. But there's two variants. There's the transport, and then there's the all-out guns.
The Disintegrator, yeah.
Yeah, and the Disintegrator is pretty tasty. But, again, it's like, well, that whole army shoots like there's nothing. I mean, they're the Imperial version of Tau. Yeah. Kind of. So, and yet another thing in your arsenal that shoots like crazy. I don't know. I mean, I'm not a big on the 40K world anymore, so I don't know if that's really filling a gap or what, or if people are just saying, I don't care how expensive the transport is, just having it
give me one
is worth it. I don't know. But it is a badass looking model.
It is. It's super cool. Super cool.
And the Repulsor is probably my favorite Space Marine
so gorgeous
kit at this point. It took over the Land Raider Crusader slot. So,
nice.
Yeah. So seeing another variation of that is
sweet.
Yeah.
Yep, I'm digging on them. They also announced the Crusader XL case, which is just like their Crusader case, except it's XL.
Ooh.
So it still has the GW foam. So some people love it. Some people hate it. I kind of middle the road on it. That waffle foam that they use with the wavies through it. I mean, to me, it's very configurable. But again, like so many people say, is that you wonder about how well it protects. So
yeah, I don't know. I find anymore that style of case is being used less and less as magnet trays become more prevalent.
Yep.
Those just seem like they work better in almost every way.
I've had KR cases, I've had Battle Foam, I've had the GW cases, transported a lot of armies all over the place, and honestly, they've all done the job that they said they were going to do. The GW case is just fine. The KR and the Battle Foam, all of them have done as advertised, and I haven't had more damage than I would have expected. So, honestly, it's a style and a company choice that you like. Really, I wouldn't say that any of them are so noticeably better or perform in some way that the others do not, that you could clearly say this is the industry leader. So,
yeah, I think I'd concur, considering I transport my armies usually in a tub that I get from Walmart with a big piece of sheet metal at the bottom. And
and with magnets. I mean, I've switched to magnets too. I mean, it's so much easier and nothing gets hurt. So
yeah,
yay.
Exactly.
So that's kind of it for New Dawn, except I do want to mention a couple of things. First of all, I don't know if they just came out with it, but I was just made aware of it. But Badger Airbrush Company has come out with the Badger Airbrush Cleaner that they advertise that for cleaning and color changes and all that stuff. You run that through the airbrush a couple of times, and the spray comes out crystal clean, and the needle is clean. And so I had to buy it and try it. And wow, it works exactly as advertised. I was shooting Badger Minotaur paints, and I mean, I did not let it get gunked up, but, you know, after shooting that stuff for a while, your needle gets a little bit of, you know, paint on it, and put a couple of capfuls of that stuff in there and ran it through, and it was as clean as it could be. I even, all I did was take the needle out. I didn't disassemble it. But I took the needle out, and there was nothing left on the needle. It was squeaky clean.
Wow.
So, yeah, I was very, very, very impressed. So if you're one of those people that's having problems with the needle or the airbrush kind of being dirty because maybe your cleaning technique isn't the best, look into that Badger. They call it Badger Airbrush Cleaner. Spray through airbrush cleaner. Yeah. Spray and through is spelled THRU, which is incorrect.
Fair enough.
The other thing is, I know I hawk this company all the time, but Asset Drop just made a change to their boxes. If you use the Discovery boxes, which gives you the different paints and the pamphlet with techniques on how to use those paints, I guess one of the comments they got a lot was, too bad I don't have anything to try these techniques out on. So they are now including in every box tiles that you can use, like basically fancy bases or big bases that you can use to test the techniques on. And they use those in the book to show the technique in use. So it has just ramped up they didn't increase the cost or anything. This is just added on to it. But it does ramp up the utility quite a bit.
And, of course, you don't have it handy, so I can see what you're talking about.
Of course I do. Give me 1 second. Dick. There's the book.
Oh, it comes with a book.
Okay, there's the tiles.
I love the quality of this little pamphlet.
Uh-huh.
Good God. How much is this a month?
27 pounds.
So $40?
Yeah. Okay, so now you have it in your hot little hands. You can see what you get. That's one of the little tiles, so you can see. And the book that shows you how to use the techniques that are in this month's box, which for me is very cool because this month is all about weathering with greenish kind of stuff. There's some powders and what do they call them? Pigments and some flocking stuff in this one, so you can kind of make overgrown look on your models. So I was very interested. I was thinking about doing it to my temple, my Sigmar temple ruins stuff. So,
good Lord, man, the stuff they have nowadays for modeling.
Yeah, and the thing is we get so channelized sometimes. I think, and we look at. What does Reaper sell? What does Vallejo sell? What does GW sell? What does, Gale Force 9 sell? Sometimes we don't think about, other companies like, Secret Weapon makes one of the best lines of washes in the game. There's small Italian companies that make pigments and powders and flocking that are just better than anything you can find anywhere else.
I will tell you that I will not use anything other than GW product. And it is not because I'm a fanboy.
Uh-huh.
It is because I don't know what I'm doing when it comes to painting or hobbying or anything. And so it's very comfortable.
That's true. Yeah.
For me to stay within this tiny little, it's not a tiny little wheelhouse anymore, let's be honest.
Yeah.
But I stay within this wheelhouse because that's just what's comfortable to me.
Sure.
Now and I am very aware that there's other companies out there that make products that will get an effect that I want
Yeah.
much easier than I could from GW, but I just will not step out to get that stuff.
See, this is where a box like this would be perfect for you because it comes with not just the new products, but how to use them.
Yeah, that's the thing.
Mm-hmm. So if you were looking to step out a little bit, this would be kind of the way to go because he put so much effort into that book, that pamphlet, to say, hey, here's how you use these cool things we just sent you.
And I think that's the biggest thing is like, it's one thing to be, contrast paints, for example.
Yeah.
It's one thing to come out and say, hey, we got this whole new line of paint coming out. It'll revolutionize the industry. And then you don't really do anything past that. I mean, you send this stuff out to a handful of people in the community to put out videos or whatever. And really all they're doing is like, hey, look at this sweet model that I painted with this paint.
Yeah.
And it's like, yeah, I could have given you Crayola stuff from the dollar store and you're going to paint really well because you're you.
Right.
Right? Like, that's not really telling me what I need to know. Whereas, like, this little book tells you what it is, what it's going to do, why it's going to do it.
Yep.
And that, to me, is really important.
Yep.
And that it's that kind of information that will coerce somebody like me to say, okay, I have an idea in my head. I've kind of searched around and I saw somebody accomplished it with your stuff. Okay, how can I get from here to there?
Yeah. And
this will kind of help me get there. And I like that.
That's one of those things I think we were talking earlier about contrast paints. I think one of the problems was they oversold them, or not problems, but they oversold them a little bit as super easy to just get amazing effects with.
Yeah.
That's not always the case. I mean, I'm sitting here with some reasonable skills at painting, and I have a lot of problems with that white covering and looking good.
Well, even just the first model you painted at the demo at the store was pretty rough.
Yeah, very.
Which is like, well, hold on. Yeah, I mean, you literally have a picture of a Space Marine getting splashed with it.
Mm-hmm.
To me, that tells me I should just be able to slather this stuff on and be good to go. And that is not
the case.
Not even a little bit. So, I mean, it's kind of a little bit of a letdown. Now, that being said, I think once you do get your mitts on the learning curve, you're going to get some fantastic results. But, yeah, they did kind of mislead, if you will, a little.
But the more I use them, the more I'm falling deeper in love with them.
Yeah, I can see why. Yeah. They are fantastic. Yeah, it's just there is that learning curve.
I did a whole Epidemius in one night. Well, pretty much an hour and a half.
Spidemius, as you put here.
Yeah,
the Finnish.
I don't know why it autocorrected to that.
Yeah, he's not from Sweden. He's from Finland.
Yeah,
and his name is Spidemius.
Spidemius.
Yeah.
I'm Epidemius Spidemius.
Yeah.
So, speaking of that, we'll just move right into creation. So, I finished a Tuesday night. Was the last night I had to get ready for Matt coming over on Friday to play. So, I needed to get my Epidemius painted because I didn't want to have unpainted models on the table.
Mm-hmm.
So, I was like, well, I'm going to do him all in contrast. And I did.
And he looks fantastic.
Yeah, he looks pretty darn good.
That model looks exactly how you would want to pitch contrast.
Yeah,
paints.
Exactly.
We spent, an hour and 45 on him?
Yeah, about that.
And he looks fantastic. And there's like a handful of things that you could touch up to really push him over the edge. But he is definitely tabletop quality.
Oh, yeah. I was not embarrassed to have him out there.
Yeah.
So
he will check many boxes on a paint list.
Yeah.
For a character model that you spent less than 2 hours on.
Right.
That is, to me, is what they should have been spinning.
Yes. So the other little piece of hobby I did was I finished up the Storm Vault, that first set of Storm Vault, but I think we talked about that last time. Or no, I wasn't done, was I?
No, I don't think you were.
Yeah.
I'm trying to remember because you've had that stuff strewn out for a little while now.
Yeah.
And it's just so overwhelming.
Yeah.
It's so much drain. It's all huge stuff. And that's only half of it? Third of it?
No, that's half. That's half of what I bought.
Okay.
So,
So you get to do that all over again.
I get to do that again.
Yay!
Yay. Actually, it is fun, though. I mean, it's working on big stuff like that is really a lot of fun. And on Twitch TV this week, they had the terrain designer guy on there, and he was showing different ways to put it together and different ways to manipulate it. And I was like, wow, I didn't even realize that worked like that. So I think this next set's going to be a little different.
Nice.
Maybe not as modular, but cooler. So,
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm down to see that. And I think also with all that terrain stuff, you're putting in like the same amount of work, but you feel like you're accomplishing so much more.
Oh, yeah.
You know, these huge pieces. And then it's because it's scenery on a table, which nobody really wants to do.
Yeah.
But once it's done,
Yeah.
it's like, I don't know, it kind of helps create more immersion.
It makes everything better.
Yeah. So.
Yep. Also, during the last since we recorded, I finished up your Troll Hag.
Yes, this lovely lady that a Mr. Tristan Gray sent me.
Mm-hmm.
She is assembled, so now I will hand her off to the lady that has been painting my troggly wogglies.
I cannot wait to see what she does with it.
Yeah, I asked her if she wanted to paint it, and she seemed pretty excited to
Good.
get her hands on a Forge World model.
Nice.
So,
nice.
and then, got to get I just got to get a couple sets of the River Trolls, and then I'll have the Trog army ready.
Yeah, you'll be done. Nice.
Very cool.
Very nice. You'll have freaking 2 armies in no time.
Yep.
Outstanding.
I'll touch on the other one some other time.
Okay, yeah. So, running around, I mentioned already that a friend of mine came out from Washington, D.C., specifically to see me, which is not true. But we got a game in Friday night.
Okay.
Well, let's put it this way. He got a game in.
All right.
Wow. Okay, I'm just going to say it right now. Skaven. Wow.
Pretty rough, huh?
It was very rough. Now, one of the things that I want to set this stage for you without giving away anything. We were playtesting a Nova scenario, so I can't talk about the scenario that much.
Okay.
Other than to say that the one surefire way to victory in this scenario was to basically set up as far forward as possible and try to draw first blood. So I was at the 24-inch line as far forward as I could get with my units of Plague Bearers, and the Guos right behind them, and Epidemius right behind that, and the Plague Drones were the only things that weren't on the front line because they were holding an objective.
Okay.
And I tried to Alpha Strike with Nurgle.
Which is totally viable. Totally viable. With Feculent Narmaz and the ability to run and charge, and then if you can set up the wheel where you want it, you can absolutely launch a Nurgle list, assuming you brought like Plague Monks and all. And right, Bill? Like you brought some teeth with that list, right? You weren't just playing what looked cool. Oh, Bill.
Let's just say I made my first mistake in list building.
Yeah, arguably the most important phase of the game.
I didn't bring any Blight Kings.
Okay, well, that's fair. Did you bring rats? You let your opponent bring the rats, huh?
Yeah.
How'd that work out for him?
It worked out really well for him. They were very effective for
Rat
him.
bastards.
Yeah, no, my offensive punch was provided by...
Don't say Plague Bearers. Don't say Plague Bearers. Don't say Plague Bearers.
Plague Bearers.
Oh!
And get this, first turn of the game,
Yeah.
not only did I, expect too much from them, but I also forgot to put my command ability on them to give them the 2 attacks.
Oh.
Now, to be fair, what we were doing was we were basically tracking wounds done on your turn. And I got up to 35 wounds, which he kind of thought was going to be a reasonably insurmountable number because of my, not only do I have saving throws, but I have my Nurgle save and all that other stuff and yada, yada, yada. However, that turned out to not be the case.
Yeah, doing 35 wounds to escape an army probably isn't enough.
Yeah. Well, and also in my ignorance, and he warned me about this, so it's not like I didn't know this could potentially happen to me. He had a hell pit abomination from my view, the far right flank, and I actually brought him into the first combat. I stretched out my line enough to bring him in because I thought, well, I'll do a few wounds to him, at least, weaken him. Guess what they don't do? Yeah, they don't weaken. Plague bearers don't weaken.
Yeah. Well, what did we learn?
We learned that a hell pit abomination can take out a unit of 20 plague bearers by himself in the first combat phase.
Yeah, sounds like a hell pit.
Yeah, it was.
They used to do it in 7th. They used to do it in 8th. Why wouldn't they be able to do it in Age of Sigmar?
What they do. Yeah, they did. What caught me out surprised, and this was learning for me too, because I'd never played against Skaven other than my wife's, and that was back in version 1 when they were just the Pestilence book.
Oh yeah.
So they were not what they are now. And he just it was butchery. It was pretty much pure butchery. He just was doing things and saying, "Oh yeah, by the way, my bravery is 4, but with my pluses, it's 19. So yeah, I didn't lose anybody to battle shock." I'm like, okay. And then as he was making his attacks, okay, now this guy gives him +1 attack. This guy makes it where he rerolls ones. This guy makes him reroll wounds. And I'm like, wow, this is a good army now.
And they all cast 2 spells each, because why wouldn't you?
Why wouldn't you?
Yeah, if you're going to cast magic, why not just cast 2 spells while you're at it?
Oh, and when you use your command points,
yeah,
you just get them back too. Well, no, you have to roll to get them back.
Oh, okay.
He was doing good on those rolls too. He was getting he got quite a few of them back. I mean, not all of them, but he got. Yeah, it wasn't a dice thing. It was I played. Well, what was funny was we played the first turn. Mm-hmm. And it was pretty much over because I had Rodriguez left and the plague drones. Yeah, out of my original
you don't want to
points.
Punch off the back foot there?
Well, see, the crazy part was after all that, he only went up. At the end of the turn, he was only up by 1 point. He was at 1 point to 0. The scenario is designed for that kind of bloodiness to happen.
Okay.
And you, like you said, one of the rules in the scenario is you can't quit if you're tabled. And tabling doesn't mean you go away because there's a thing. There's mechanisms in the scenario.
We don't get too far.
We can't get that far, but it's you could be ahead by 2 or 3 points and actually win the game. So what we did was we took a break and we recorded the spot that people will hear later. I think we had dinner. And then we went back and we kind of brought the Guo back and we brought a unit of plague bearers back. But we brought them back deeper, from the board edge, not right up front like it was the first time. And it was actually a lot better that second time with him having to come to me and him having to do all the moving rather than me just giving him all the targets in turn 1. So, it was completely doable. I think Nurgle can face Skaven really without too much of a problem. You just have to play it correctly, and I certainly did not on the first turn. So, but it was an amazingly fun game. I mean, it was a blast to be rolling dice with somebody who was really cool, and we were sort of crafting the story along the way. We sort of made up kind of what the situation was, and we folded it into my city-state in Gairen. And, if I won, I was going to have his rats helping me to take out the city. But if he won, I was going to have to be providing him with flesh, so yeah, it was kind of cool.
Nice.
We were having a grand old time.
Nice.
But it was great to have a game and, have those guys over for dinner and fun stuff. And he brought me a unit of, what's his name, for my night haunt. And he brought Pam a set of Skaven for Shadespire. So.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, he was super cool. Super cool. And it's, he's the Nova narrative TO. So he knows what he's about. So
cool.
Yeah, it was a lot of fun. A lot of fun having Matt and his wife Renee over for the evening. It was great. It was great. So, should we jump into the lore section?
Yeah.
What should we talk about?
Well, turns out,
The cosmic ramifications of Ninth Age?
yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, let's talk about why competitive players are just better people in general than narrative players.
Okay, on that note, let's take a quick break.
So, something new has dropped in the world of Age of Sigmar.
What?
Kind of important
No.
for all your gaming needs. It's the Pitched Battle Profiles booklet. Oh, I'm sorry. It's the General's Handbook, 2019.
Okay, I was like, what?
So, yeah, this is kind of important.
So we're going to do a book review of the General's Handbook?
Yep. So the cover of it is really nice. It's and then the first page has some sweet artwork. It's like a combination of Stormcast and Archeon. And then table of contents starting on page 2 to war. No, I'm just kidding. So there's been some pretty in-depth reviews out there. One of them that I really like is Rob is doing his faction reactions.
Yeah, those are...
where he pulls somebody in to talk specifically about Ironjaws, to talk specifically about Idneth Deepkin, stuff like that, which if you really want to get into the meat and taters of this, of this and how it affects the meta and how it affects your army and all that stuff, listen to those, and hopefully he'll get around to doing every one of them.
Yeah, I'm sure he's looking to do it. It's by the way, it's Rob Symes, the Honest War Gamer.
Right.
So
and every other podcaster is likely going to talk about this. So, we are not original and completely uncreative. So we're just going to do the exact same thing.
That's right.
So if you're tired of hearing about the General's Handbook,
welcome to our show.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Make your own podcast.
Yeah.
Anyway, no. What we wanted to do was we just kind of wanted to touch on our armies and how the General's Handbook affected the armies that we want to play.
Yeah.
And that's pretty much it.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm not going to sit here and talk about what I think it's going to do for Tzeentch.
Yeah.
Or what I think it's going to do for Gutbusters.
Yep,
Nothing, because they're just as deadly now as they've always been.
Yeah. Yeah.
Wah, wah. Yeah.
Yeah.
So
we're going to hit the highlights of the book is what we're going to do.
I will talk about Ironjaws and Quadrant Overlords.
Nice.
Those are my two big armies.
Nice.
And then
we'll talk about Seraphon because they're super cool.
Are they, though?
Yes.
Yeah.
Stop it.
I dream of dreams.
Yes.
Something like that, anyways. And then what else you want to touch on? Because you got quite a bit of stuff. You could talk about death as a whole. You could talk about the Icewind Dales, the Ice Monkeys. What the hell? Good Lord, I'm having a Beastclaw Raiders. That's the one.
Wow.
Someone was cooking eggs for a second there. Holy crap.
Stroke much?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, maybe I do need that keto diet. And then what else?
Well, I want to hit some highlights of the book itself, not just the factions.
Oh, okay. So yeah, let's. So page 2, go to war.
No, I'm going to go up to. I'm going to start with page 5.
Okay. Well, at least we don't have to deal with the first 4.
Well, yeah. They're just kind of one of them's table content. So yeah. Okay, but anyway, on page 5, you have the Warhammer Age of Sigmar Players Code. Now, I'm not going to hit this,
except you are.
Except that I am.
Okay. Hit it, Bill.
Okay, 2 things. First of all, I hate this page.
Really?
With a passion.
Okay.
An unbridled passion. 10,000 burning suns worth of passion.
That's a lot of passion.
Yes, it is. I think it's so horrific that they felt like they had to publish this. They felt like they had to put this in a book so that all the players could at least have a chance to look at it.
I have not read it. Now I'm very curious.
Okay, so here's the cardinal rules, the 2 cardinal rules.
Okay.
Always be polite and respectful. Rule number 2, always tell the truth and never cheat. The idea that they have to put that in print. Now, I think maybe they're doing this. I don't think they're doing it because there's a worldwide thing that they feel they have to address. I think they just want to get this down in print somewhere and be able to say that, hey, we said this is kind of how you should play. But the idea that that sort of thing has to be told to a group of gamers, yeah, that's why I hate it.
So you find this demeaning?
No, I find it's terrible that it has to be said.
Okay.
That they felt it was worth a page of a fixed page, 2 pages of a fixed page count book, because there's not a lot of wiggle room. They have certain things that they have to do to print a book.
Right.
And so devoting 2 pages to this is 2 pages of Sigmar rules that we didn't get.
So what you're saying is the reason they had to make 2 separate books, the point values in a whole different book, is because...
Probably because of this.
Yeah, this right here. So because you cheating bastards.
And I'm not trying to make it sound like I don't like it, because, I think it's really well thought out. It's really well done.
Okay. See, now you're backtracking already. Okay.
No, I said I hated the idea that they had to do it.
No, I got you.
They felt that it was important.
That they called you out on your style of play.
I know.
The way you flip out and throw dice. And
I honestly don't see how microwaving
in fact,
dice is
I
wrong.
looked at it just briefly, but I thought I saw something in here about if you find yourself in a game with Bill Costello...
Yeah, just get out.
Try to show him this page so that you can actually enjoy.
And make him read it out loud.
Yeah. Embarrass him.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Yeah.
See, but here's my point. They're trying to call me out for, silly things. I don't see why, if I decide to microwave my dice, it should have anything to do with anyone else. Sorry.
Don't define my definition of fun, damn it. All right? Okay, I don't tell you how to have fun at this stupid game. You don't tell me how to do it. All right? If I feel the need to model for advantage and bring questionable dice and then insult your mother as we play, that I'm having fun.
That's right.
That's my narrative.
My fun.
My narrative.
Yeah.
Damn it.
Yeah.
Don't you dare tell me I'm wrong. Okay.
So anyway.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a really cool thing that they put that whole list of, and the thing is it's generated a lot of interesting discussion in a lot of groups that I'm in about, do we assign points to those kind of things, the items on that list? Is that some framework that we can use now for sportsmanship scores? And it's an interesting discussion. We've had, some back and forth on it, and it's generated some really interesting talk about how we approach sportsmanship scores and, best opponents and all that stuff. So, again, it sparked a lot of good, positive conversation.
Do we want to dovetail into a conversation about this?
Sure, if you want to.
So I feel that one of the ways to curtail some of this behavior is if TOs step up to the plate and actually enforce some of this stuff. You can have all the rules in the world,
yes,
but if they're not going to be enforced, then they don't really mean anything.
Right.
And I know it's really hard to enforce some of this stuff because we are in a niche hobby and a lot of us know each other.
Yeah.
And sometimes things happen.
Yeah.
And you have to make that decision as an organizer. Do I piss some people off?
Yeah. I potentially lose
because a line has been crossed? Yeah. And that sucks.
Mm-hmm.
But I think that's the only way. You have to make a statement sometimes.
Yep.
And and it does happen.
Mm-hmm.
There's a whole thread on some stuff that happened at Flying Monkey.
Yeah.
Which I was going to go to. Unfortunately, I wasn't able to make it. And a player got disqualified and banned from the event.
Yeah.
And kudos to those organizers, the guys who put together Flying Monkey, for being 100% transparent about it. In fact, on their show, I believe they had the guy come on to give his side of the story so that everything could be out there. And I think that's very important for 2 points. One, it shows that, you are going to have to step up to the plate and enforce stuff, and it might create some feel bads for a whole bunch of people.
Sure.
it happens. But 2, to be transparent about it.
Yes.
So that because in the internet age, man, that gossip will go around quick.
And it goes faster than the truth does.
Yeah.
You know.
And people's, I mean, I hate to say it because it kind of sounds speaking in hyperbole, but their career, if you will, their gaming career can be toast.
Right.
I guess not their career, their reputation.
Sure.
And it's just over. I don't know how you recover from that.
Yep.
So for them to be completely transparent about it and then let the guy give his side, I think that's pretty cool. But they had to step up to the plate.
Yeah.
And do it. And then maybe by Games Workshop putting these 2 pages in here is kind of them saying, okay, like, yeah, it's time to kind of get serious about some of this stuff because this is our business. So we want it to be represented correctly.
Yeah.
So we're going to kind of back it as well.
And these are going to be the rules at our tables. You know? And when you're in our house, this is how we play.
Yep.
And if you don't like it, you'll be asked to leave. So,
and now we're going to start asking the community at large.
And that's the whole thing is if the mothership says it's okay to toss somebody for doing these or not doing these things, then that kind of sends the message that, yeah, it's okay everywhere.
Yeah.
It's okay to do and to take the actions that the guys up at Flying Monkey had to take. And yeah, it's a gut wrencher, and I'm sure they didn't just go, oh, well, let's have some fun and, you know, toss this guy. I'm sure it wasn't that easy. But sometimes you got to do what you got to do for the betterment of the whole event. So the needs of the many outweigh the needs of the few or the one.
Sure.
Okay.
That too.
I swear to God, you don't know your Star Trek at all.
Yeah, is that the one where they got blue milk from a weird sea creature, and then
No.
Anyways,
Go away.
Okay, so now that we've spent like 10 minutes on the first,
On the one thing that we weren't going to talk about.
Yeah. So
then there's a whole section of the book on open war, and I don't think we need to hit it that hard, but there's some very, very interesting things in here that are really cool. Like they have the terrain generator, and then they have an army generator where you can actually generate an open war army that will be reasonably kind of balanced.
Ooh.
It's really cool. Yeah, you know, you're basically going to pick unit types, and they have it all randomized with a D66, or there's a set of cards with that come with the Warlord Edition. So it's really kind of cool. It's very interesting. And new terrain rules for open war, and they kind of give you a whole page full of diagrams of what different tables could look like. Very cool.
I like it.
Yeah.
I think that's stuff that we'll get into later.
Yeah.
When we start playing more games. Because you and I really enjoy the open war style.
Yeah.
Or open play and match or narrative play stuff.
And they really turned it up a notch. The notch. The open war generator, the deployment generator is so much bigger and beefier now. It's cool.
Sweet.
And all new hidden agendas. So, you know, they kind of did out the hidden agendas in one of the White Dwarfs, I believe.
I don't know.
And they made them available for download, but they've like doubled the number of them. So
are these cards going to be available later on, or was the only way to get a hold of them in the Warlord Edition?
I think the only way is the Warlord Edition.
Damn it. Bobby.
Although every one of those pages has a little thing about, you know, permission to photocopy. So
fair enough.
If you have the book, you can print them out. And if you have the digital edition, of course, you can print them out really easy.
Fair enough.
And then, of course, you have the Streets of Death rules. So Cities of Death for 40K becomes Streets of Death for Age of Sigmar. And it's a really neat set of rules. You know, one thing that's always kind of bugged me a little bit is, you know, running the Maw Crochet in between two buildings and all that stuff, something that's supposed to be, you know, bigger than a building, is just sort of sneaking through the alley because the base fits. Yeah, no. Yeah, you're going to take a little bit of damage now, Cabbage. So.
Nice. Okay.
And then arcane objectives. They have new objectives for the game where they make a lot of sense in narrative play to spice up objectives. So objectives can now be either worth more or less, or you might take it and it hurts you. And standing on it hurts you, but you got to stand on it to get the points. You know what I mean?
Okay.
So, yeah, they have these arcane objectives. It's a very interesting twist on making the objectives mean or a bigger part of the game other than just I have
a place you got to be.
3 units within 3 inches, so I get to win that objective. Yeah, well, if it starts eating you, you might think twice about that.
Nice.
So, yeah, it's really cool. I mean, and then, of course, you can't not face the elephant in the room. The regiments of renown, the mercenaries.
Oh,
so,
yeah.
Lots and lots of mercenary units in here, and they flat out tell you that if there's a mercenary unit that you can dream up but isn't represented here, just follow the format. Just follow what these things look like and make your mercenary unit. So, really cool stuff. Tons and tons. They have a whole section on naming your heroes with tables.
Yeah,
to name
I saw that.
like
That's
Slaves
cool.
of Darkness, Khorne, Nurgle, Slanesh,
Ironjaws.
Yeah, I mean it's
I'm digging it.
It's a really they started that stuff with Kill Team, and it really blew up. I mean that you see name generators everywhere now. It's crazy cool.
Yeah, and I mean it might sound silly at first, but trying to come up with a name sometimes. The number of times that I'll start up like Skyrim or something like that, and then sit at the. It's like I spent all that time coming up with a face that you'll never see because you wear a helmet right away.
Eyes, yeah.
And then it comes time to name the character, and I'm like,
Bob.
Yeah, there's only so many times I can name a paladin Matthias.
Yeah.
Before it's like, all right.
Yeah, I've done that.
Yeah, or Grimaldus. I can only use so many Space Marine names.
Yeah.
So.
And let me go back and just correct myself. I mentioned Regiments of Renown, and I started talking about the mercenary rules. Regiments of Renown are different. They're a separate thing. Mercenary companies are also a separate set of rules from Regiments of Renown.
Ooh.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I rolled those two together very incorrectly.
That's a live fact-checking for you right there.
Yeah.
That's why we have it.
Well, I mean, I mentioned the name, and then I went right into mercenary companies, and I didn't want to make it sound like they were the same thing. They're not. And, mercenary companies, we talked about this before. There was a lot of trepidation about them. No, I don't think there needs to be. They come out of your allies' points, so you could have done it anyway with the mechanics. At least now you get a benefit. You do lose a command point, but there's benefits to it.
Yeah, some of the stuff that I heard that people were kind of initially concerned is that Archregent for Flesh Eater Corpse because he's so strong. But
yes.
He's fairly expensive points-wise.
Mm-hmm.
And sometimes it's kind of like, well, what are you giving up out of the synergy of your own army to throw a wizard in?
Yeah.
Like, is he really going to bring enough to tip the tables? I would say most of the time, no.
Yeah.
But I think there's going to be some of those players that really want to sit down and just crunch numbers and see.
And crack that list.
Yeah, and see what they can do. And I'm sure it's out there for sure, definitely. But I would say for the most part, I wouldn't worry too much about mercenaries.
No. I mean, they're just going to be a fun addition, but I don't think they're going to be game-breaking.
Yeah.
Not meta-breaking. So.
Yep.
Also in match play, the biggest thing I think in the book is there are now 6 triumphs that you can forget every game rather than 3.
Oh, yeah.
I love the idea of triumphs. I think it's a great balancer.
It's fantastic.
And yet I don't know.
The most important rule, you'll forget every single game.
Yeah, and you talk to so many people, and their first thing was, and I forgot my triumph. Yeah, and I forgot my triumph.
See, I think you have to build a list with it in mind.
Yeah.
Almost. I remember way back when I used to play Ironjaws a lot. And because of their wonky point totals, sometimes it was hard to get 2,000 points.
Sure.
And you didn't have command points and stuff back then in first edition. And so I just had a mental note all the time that I had a triumph. And a lot of times it was like, we'll re-roll ones to wound.
Yeah.
And so I would always, I don't know, for some reason it just really stuck in my head. Like, okay, well, one of these turns, I'm really going to kick this thing off.
Yep.
And my dudes will be nasty.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I think it's just when you're writing that list, you have to make a mental note. Like,
Yes.
okay. And now I guess apparently you can't just play your army short a bunch of points to get command points.
No, it's only one.
And then also happen to get a triumph because you're playing like 1,700.
Right.
Because you wanted to stack command points
Yeah.
up front. So, yeah, you have to, and then you have to buy it.
Yes.
So those are 50 points that you spend.
You spend that point. Yep.
Right, yeah. So
Which is so much better.
Yeah.
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 I remember the old trick of, the Zinch players would come up short, and so they would just buy the command points they needed. I'm at 1,800 points, so I'm going to start with 5 command points. Oh, look at me. I blew you off in turn 1. Oh, poor you.
Well, yeah, there's definitely, especially when your army can summon.
Yeah.
It's like, I'll start down
Sure.
with a bunch of command points ready to go, and then
Mhm.
I'll just dump a whole new army on you. Yeah, it's a little frustrating. But anyways, yeah, they kind of remedied that.
Yep. So the next really big page is page number 57, because on that page there are 3 new command abilities that every army gets
Yeah.
that are very, very nice and very, very handy.
Depending on your army, hell yeah.
They can be incredibly useful. Thank you. That's a very good word.
Words are hard.
What about those eggs? I thought I smelled the eggs. And also, there's 6 new terrain types, scenery types.
Yep.
With some pretty amazing scenery rules.
Yeah.
Very, very cool rules, like Overgrown will, let me see. What does that do? Oh, no, I'm sorry. Entangling. Subtract 2 from run and charge rolls to a minimum of 0 for units that are within 1 inch of entangling terrain features.
Yep.
Owie.
Yeah, you start throwing objectives into terrain features.
Entanglementednesses.
Yeah.
That could get real ugly. So, what was the other one? You were mentioning the commanding one, that if your general is near commanding terrain and the other guy's general isn't, you get a command point.
Yep.
And you get a command point. And you get a command point.
Yeah.
That's huge. I mean, that's like we were saying before, that's changing mechanics of the game.
Yeah.
And they're not afraid to do it, and that's awesome.
Now, one thing you will have to kind of keep in mind is there's a lot more new rules to remember.
Yes. Oh, yeah.
So I think if I was a TO, which I've been known to do from time to time.
Yes, you have.
Maybe if you're going to incorporate all of these new rules and stuff, maybe have a printout on the side of each table of what everything does so that players don't have to dig or whatever.
We're talking about that for the node narrative, is having every rule for that table, the realm rules, any specific scenery stuff. It's all going to be printed on tape, 2 copies, so each player has one. Mm-hmm. And, that stays with the table. It'll be chained to the table.
Yeah.
Chained with fake chains. But,
well,
that sort of thing. Don't take them with you. So, now let's talk about meeting engagements.
What are those?
I don't know. I didn't read the book. Did you?
I saw that it was for sale.
Yeah.
And I figured you'd buy it because, Games Workshop was selling something.
I bought 2. I'm kidding. Well,
no, you're not. You bought the regular and you bought the Warlord, didn't you? Jesus Christ.
And then I bought it in the app. I'm stupid. Yes. So, anyway, meeting engagements. And, okay, we skipped over a bunch of pages where they talk about how to run tournaments. And they actually have some really good advice if you want to run a tournament. It's really good stuff. Cracking good.
Yeah, I wonder where they got a bunch of that information from.
It might have been the AOS Community Pack. I don't know. Might have been. Yeah. So then you jump into meeting engagements, which are 1,000-point games with a lot of new rules for how you set them up, because only part of your force comes on turn 1. Then more of it comes on turn.
Some
part
of it starts on the table. Yeah.
Some of it comes on turn 1. Some of it comes on turn 2, and that's it.
Yep.
And it's a 1,000-point game, so a lot more approachable. And there's a real big push on this. There's a real big thing, and I understand why. Is they want to make it a little bit more approachable to people that don't have, 4,000 points of Nurgle and 10,000 points of corn lying around. There's that new guy that just bought a Getting Started box, and he wants a way to play. And that's kind of what this is aimed for. Whole set of rules for meeting engagements, including how to run meeting engagement tournaments, and then a whole bunch of setups and scenarios, battle plans for meeting engagements. So I'm tossing around the idea of Andrew and I are running a tournament here in town on the weekend of July 20th.
Yeah, I saw that.
So, but that's going to be a regular, 1-day, 3-game tournament, ITC. But we're kind of tossing around the idea of maybe doing a meeting engagement thing also, because it'll be a lot easier to set up and quicker games. So, maybe have a 5-game 1-day tournament. Who knows? So, yeah, the meeting engagements are very, very cool. And then we get into allegiance abilities. We can skip over that. There's nothing really cool there.
Yeah, no.
Oh, but wait.
Oh, wait, there's more.
But wait. So you wanted to bring up those orky type
the
fellows that are
Iron Jaws.
Now the terror of the table?
Yeah.
Just having Ryan describe his game, I think they've gone from snoozers to they're OP.
Yeah, really?
Yeah. Well,
over the top. The new Zinch.
Replacing command points that, just by looking at them, and each one you spend, you get 18 more attacks. So now you got a unit of brutes doing 57 attacks. So I got to roll 1,400 dice. Oh, but I can't use the dice app because Elric said that's not fair.
Wow. That's like Randall level salt right there.
Yeah, was I going or what?
Jeez.
No, so tell me about Iron Jaw's changes. They look really competitive now.
Well, I don't know about all that, but they did, I think, all around get better because there's nothing but points drops.
Yeah.
For them on some stuff. Yeah, I think at first I wasn't particularly hyped for them when I saw just the point, because at first I just saw the point drops. And I was kind of like, well, I was a little let down by the cabbage.
Yeah.
It's still just so
expensive. Yeah.
And I think he just dies way too easily. And there's more to him than that. I think his base size just makes him so limited.
Yeah.
If you're playing with a lot of terrain, which, a lot of Age of Sigmar tables are covered in terrain, it makes it a real bitch to get him around.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know he flies, but
you still need a place to land.
Yeah, he's still an 8-inch base with a 12-inch move.
Yeah.
It's difficult to get him where he needs to be sometimes. But so, yeah, to see only a 20-point drop for him, and especially Gordrak. Come on. Get it together on the Gordrak thing. That dude is garbage. Anyways, I don't want to crap on Iron Jaws because short of that, I think the rest of the stuff is pretty solid.
Oh yeah.
Getting a drop on the Ard Boys is just I think it's really good. I mean, you can really flood the table with Ard Boys now.
Oh, yeah.
And I think those are kind of the workhorse of Iron Jaws. I wish it was the Brutes, and the Brutes did get a 10-point drop, which is good, but I don't know. I think because of the changes to Iron Tooths and the blood, the Blood Tooths and the Iron Sons. Which, I think there is a list that could focus heavily on Brutes and get some mileage.
I think the goal of this whole change, though, was to stop that. I mean, by making the Ard Boys cheaper and better at the same time, I think the idea was to return Brutes back to being not your main battle line, but they're your elite hard-hitting unit like they're supposed to be. You bring Ard Boys, and I pronounce my H. Bad orc. Bad. But, I mean, you rely on Ard Boys, and you bring the Brutes to be I'm here to slap you in the face unit. The way, the kind of lore narrative way, because, there's a hell of a lot more Ardboys born than there are Brutes born. So.
Yeah, I think.
Since they grow into each other, it's kind of a silly thing to say born, but hey.
I definitely think you'll see a lot more Ardboys because of the Hand of Gork spell and the massive bonuses to charge you can get with Ardboys, and then you can boost their attacks and all of that stuff.
Oh, yeah.
That's definitely a combo you'll see that you can't really pull off so much with Brutes.
Right.
So, yeah, I don't know. I just feel like each of those formations kind of favors different style of builds. One of them kind of favors more of like MSU style,
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
5-man brutes running around, some pigs running around, stuff like that. Whereas the other one, the one that doubles what the units count as towards your wog, I totally see like 2 30-man units of Ardboys.
Yeah, that's what Ryan was. I don't know if he was doing 30-man units, but he was. Yeah, he was going nuts on. Or
you could do 20,
attacks.
And then the dude wawing, those 2 units in him, that's 6. That counts as 6.
Yeah.
And so if you roll a 6, everybody's getting +2 to all their attacks. I mean, that's a lot.
It is.
It's a lot. So, and then
you add the Fungoid Cave Shaman.
Yeah, stuff like that.
Yeah.
Vince talked about how he hopes they stop with the Iron Jaws right here and they don't get a book because he feels like this is about as good as it's going to get. And I agree with him on some stuff because I thought about, with the Bloodtooths and the Iron Suns, if they get a book, they might do it so that those aren't formations anymore, and those are like the clans or whatever you want to call it, and they might lose some of those cool rules, which would kind of suck for sure.
Yeah.
But who knows what they'll do with that book when it comes out. I do have to say, so, and they obviously changed some of the artifacts and command traits and whatnot, but they gave them a whole spell lore.
Yeah.
Which sounds great, but they still only have the one wizard. He's really expensive, and he only casts 1 spell.
Yeah.
And he already has 2 spells on his war scroll.
Yeah.
So it's kind of like, well, it's great. I love that you gave me a whole spell lore. I love that. I kind of feel like I don't have access to it.
Yeah.
Because I'm going to take the Hand of Gork.
Yeah.
And then I'm really probably not going to take another shaman to take another spell when I'll probably just cast the spells on his war scroll.
Yeah, I know.
Or an endless spell or something like that.
This could also be the harbinger of things to come.
Sure.
I mean, there might be another caster coming out. Or if they roll Bone Split as in, then now all of a sudden there's a lot more casters rolling around.
Yeah, but they already have their own spell lores.
Yeah, but there's nothing that's going to say, no, you can't,
Maybe.
So it's all Gork, man. It's all Gork, or maybe Mark. I don't know.
It's all Gork, baby.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm pretty happy with the Iron Jaws changes. I don't think they all of a sudden became like the new Skaven.
I think they're top table.
Really?
Yeah. Yeah.
With a couple of points drops?
I think with, the guys that are consistently at the top tables, I mean, I don't think you're going to see, me rise to the top with an Iron Jaws army, but the guys that know how to tweak every last ounce, I think you're going to see them.
No. I'm calling it now.
I
don't think you'll see Iron Jaws take any.
I'll call it now.
Really?
Yeah, they just finished Heat 3, right, for AOS?
I think so.
So I think at the champs it's going to be Iron Jaws.
Iron Jaws at the champs. Get out.
Iron Jaws in the top 2 spots right now.
Get out of here.
Okay.
You're high.
I will tell you what
was in those brownies we ate earlier.
Oh, you didn't. Oh, I didn't say anything, did I? My bad.
No, you didn't.
My bad.
No, I mean, Iron Jaws, I think, could take like a 20-some-odd person tournament or something like that for sure. But
I think at the championship, at the final AOS, you'll probably see him in the top 5, top 10.
I think you'll be lucky to see him in the top 20.
Top 10.
The thing is like, it didn't do anything to take care of their limitations. They have no shooting.
Right.
They almost have no magic.
Right.
And while they got some mobility with the Hand of Gore, which is fantastic.
Oh, yeah.
I think you're going to see some really nasty stuff with that for sure, mixed with smashing and bashing. And all of that is great. The problem is some of the new armies out there have the ability to either chaff you up so much that even with that movement, you're still not going to get through it before the damage comes in that you can't really recover from, or they're just going to summon a new wave of chaff.
Yeah.
And you're going to have to keep trying to chew through that stuff while they're moving around and getting objectives and stuff, because you're still not – it's not like you have hordes of dudes. I mean, yeah, you can put 2 30-man Ard Boys on the table, but that's kind of your army, especially if you take one of those big formations, because then you have to take a cabbage.
Right,
So –
I mean, they have limits, but I think you'll see somebody crack the code. I mean, to me,
think
they
do
look
well.
really, really – they look really strong. Not you know, I know I said OP before, but yeah, I was kidding. I think they are. I think they will at least see.
I would love to see them in the top 20 at a big event. I'm talking like 100-plus player event.
Yeah, I'm talking, you know, the Blood and Glories, the Adepticons, the Novas, that kind of thing. Yeah. I think you'll see them probably top 10 in the right hands.
Look, I would love to see that.
Yeah.
I don't think it will.
Well, the only problem is
20 is
if they go top 10, they'll probably get nerfed again. So,
no. Got to keep that destruction down there.
Yeah, exactly. We don't want them.
So, and then, so that's Iron Jaws.
Yeah.
Pretty hyped for them. I'm hoping it gives them a nice little boost before their book comes out.
Yep.
And then the other one I wanted to touch on was Quadrant Overlords.
Yeah.
So
big changes here.
Yeah, there's some pretty significant point drops. All the boats got drops, and then some of the units did too. I think, for me personally, the hidden gem here, I don't really think it's that hidden at this point. 200-point frigates.
Yeah.
Wow.
I think they just put them in the game.
Yeah.
And I think some of the bigger boats are still going to be, if someone's really in love with that model.
Yeah, I think the Ironclad still kind of pigeonholes yourself into a very specific play type. Not saying that play type won't work. I'm just saying that I think you're more limited by bringing one. And that's fine. You know, it's a big centerpiece, badass model for sure.
Oh, yeah.
But I think now you can bring multiple frigates into an army.
Yes.
It's viable, which gives you even more mobility depending on your skyport and artifacts and stuff
huge.
like that. Yeah. There's a lot of really cool things you can do with 200-point frigates. And 130-point gunboats, I'm not saying they're fantastic, but I think they're definitely an option so that you can try maybe some of those formations that require them.
Yeah.
You might be able to get something out of them. I don't know.
Well, and, you know, to me, it seems to have put them realistically into the role of, like, the Nurgle Plague drones and all that stuff, where you have a unit now that has the speed to go around and grab objectives.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. Yeah, so I just think it'll be interesting to see if people start bringing them.
Yeah.
That's what I want to see.
What I'm hoping it'll do is make for some different builds, different lists that see the light of day. Because, you know, I think the biggest problem with them now is there's one list that really works well, and there's a couple of lists that are playable, but other than that, it's and I mean, you are working with a limited palette, so it's not like, oh, I'm just going to do a Highlander thing. No, you're not.
Yeah.
So, but I mean, I think you're going to see some more creative expression.
So there's a point that I want to touch on all of this, but I'll let you want to talk about
Seraphon?
Talk about hit me with that Seraphon goodness.
Seraphon goodness. Okay, so some changes. Slan wizards can, you know, unbind anywhere on the board. None of this 30-inch stuff. So
tasty.
Kind of interesting. One of the things that they let the Slan wizards do now is you're not limited to the spell that you pick at the beginning of the game. During every hero phase, you can pick one Slan wizard can replace a spell they know from the Seraphon spell lore. So you're a little more flexible with how you're not locked into a one spell choice. So if you need something, if you're finding something doesn't work, you can change your spell, which is very, very nice. I think that's very, very cool. And, of course, they have the Lords of Space and Time. As always, you can pick one friendly Seraphon unit anywhere on the board, pick them up, move them somewhere else, just like every other kind of movement. They go 9 inches away, and that counts as their move for the movement phase. So they still retain their ability to zip around the board. And, of course, if you have a Slan Wizard, he can do it twice if you take the command ability or
Command trait.
Command trait, thank you. Conjuration changed a little bit, or the Celestial Conjuration, which is Seraphon summoning. Now it's a straight 3 points. Whenever you give up a spell, it's not a D3 points, so it's 3 points.
Okay.
And you still get the 1 point if your general is a Slan, and D3 points if you have a Saurus Astrolith bearer. And the summoning table didn't change, so it pretty much stayed the same. There's some new command traits or word changes on the command traits. The spell lore is underwhelming. So for a race that's supposed to be the most amazing magic using thing out there, their spell choices are kind of, they sure as heck ain't Nagash. They don't have Hand of Dust. We don't have any of those, we ain't going to go wogging. There's nothing in here that just jumps out at you. But then again, if you have a Slan Wizard, you have the benefit of picking any spell, any turn that you might possibly want. So that's pretty big.
Yeah.
And that's why I don't think they made any of them over the top powerful. You're not going to see a Hand of Dust in the Seraphon range, because that would be a little too crazy.
Well, not only that, but yeah, they're super powerful wizards, but they're not gods.
Right. And you can't unbalance the game just because you wrote some lore.
Right.
So, unless you're Nagash. No, I'm kidding. So, yeah, I mean, I don't, none of their changes to me are bad or icky. They all work. They all, they're going to be as playable as they were before. I think they have a little more freedom of movement now. They have a little more freedom to do some stuff. So, yeah, they're fun. They'll still be good. They'll be right about where they are now.
Cool.
They had some battalion changes. Dracothian's Tail is still not doable. But whatever. It's fun.
Cool.
Yeah.
So the point I kind of wanted to make, and this kind of dovetails off of Quadrant Overlords, and there's definitely some other armies out there that suffer from this. I think there's some armies that are at a point where there's not really anything you could do for them to an extent. I mean, because in the General's Handbook is only designed to do so much, because it's just point changes.
Yeah.
Unless you're a Quadrant Overlord, then they completely nerf a War Scroll for you. But anyways, and that's the thing, is like some of these armies, they just need to fundamentally be changed. Like whole War Scrolls need to be changed, the mechanics of their books. And so meddling with the points a little bit can help.
Yeah.
Right. But there's only you can only take so many points off of some stuff. I mean, I think on the Seraphon faction reaction on the Honest Wargamer, they were talking about Troglodytes.
Yeah.
And they made a point of like, well, if it was 40 points for a monster, would you still take it?
No.
You could get 6 of them for 240 points. And the guy's like, oh yeah, well, I would take that. And then it's like, well, but that's all my behemoth
choices.
Yeah. So I still would at 40 points. That's how bad the War Scroll is. So the point change won't fix anything.
Right.
You got to get in there and start tweaking mechanically.
Yeah, because the only thing that thing does is extend your spell range.
Right.
Which they did in second edition. They extended everybody's, so honestly.
Yeah. And that's kind of like one of the glaring things about Quadrant Overlords, right? Is like that that army just needs a new book.
Yeah.
Points help, and you'll definitely see some new stuff on the table for sure. And I'm not saying they're a bad army by any means.
Right.
But there are some armies out there like that, like Beastskull Raiders and stuff, that at this point in the game, their book just doesn't really like Tzeentch.
Yeah.
I'm not saying Tzeentch isn't bad, right? They're still really good. And in fact, there's a lot of speculation that these point changes made them bananas again.
Could be, yeah.
But when you start looking at like how many errata pages there are for that book, like they just need a new book.
Well, and like Beast Claw Raiders needs a fundamental change to what they do and how they operate.
Right.
Because they cannot compete on the table because this is an objective game now, and they can't take objectives.
Yeah, you would almost have to like give them a mechanic where their monsters count as more models or something, or roll Gutbusters in with them.
Which actually, but if you notice, they have done that in some of the scenarios now, where a monster counts as 10.
Oh,
so
cool. We're going back to the old unit strength.
Yeah, it's kind of interesting how they're going to, the past is prologue. So.
Yeah, so, and again, we kind of come back to what I was talking about. I don't know if you'll put that bit in the show or not, but, like Games Workshop has, like they can only do so much, despite the fact that they're just absolutely dumping on us with product and all this stuff. Like, they can't, like, oh, this book didn't quite hit, so 9 months later we got to completely redo it. You know? I mean, unless it's Stormcast. Stormcast are cool. Yeah, I'll throw that one in there, Bill.
Stormcast are cool.
Damn it, I hate this stupid message board thing. But yeah, so I think there's like a little bit of I don't want to say frustration, because again, I think this did breathe some life into some of these armies, especially like KO and like Ironjawz too, to an extent.
It's very interesting if you look to see where they focus their changes in this book. Nothing for Beastclaw, really.
Yeah.
Nothing for.
Well, no, some of the big Gribbly's got point deductions.
Well, okay. I mean, I'm not talking point deduction. Point reductions aren't going to make Beastclaw come into the game. They still can't take objectives and win games.
Right.
So
you just kill your opponent.
Yeah.
You get alpha strike them.
Yeah. I mean,
in a game where you can't really alpha strike like they used to.
Yeah.
But
So I mean, but they weren't addressed at all. So either that says there's some destruction changes coming, or I mean, we've presupposed this kind of stuff before, and it hardly ever works out right. But they've made a lot of changes to factions that needed tweaks to get back to competitive power levels. There's some books that just aren't there.
And the only way they'll get there is just a complete overhaul. Yeah.
And I think you can kind of look through the chapters in this General's Handbook and go, I see where they're focusing their efforts now. So, and that's fine. I keep trying to say that there's only so many hours in the day. There's only so much time on the plastic and the printing presses.
Right.
So they have to schedule things. I mean, help is coming. The one thing that we've seen in the past repeatedly is they're not going to let armies sit there and languish and be dead for 7 years, 10 years like it was before. It's going to be a couple of 3 years. When you think about it, Age of Sigmar is 4 years old in a week. Well, from the announcement, but it's 4 years old. And look at all the changes that we've had that have come out. And not just new armies. I mean, changes to armies that existed already so that they become playable. Sylvaneth can become a thing again.
There is not an army that has been out since drop that has not gotten some kind of updated attention.
Well, except in the case of Beastclaw Raiders, where all they got was nerfed. That's just me being bitter. Come on.
Okay, hold on. No. You might be on to.
Yeah, they haven't had a positive change.
Beastclaw, Beastclaw and Bone Splitters.
Yeah,
are the only two, I guess. Then their books dropped, and they didn't. The only changes they get is point changes.
Yeah, they've never gotten any kind of love. So, which gives me hope that Destruction is getting a revamp.
No. Do not ever hold your breath for Destruction getting love. That is a bad idea. But the fact that they do get point changes does at least mean something.
Yeah.
Because It used to be, your book would drop, and then if it was a turd, man, then
you went
that just
3
sucked.
years, 4 years, 5 years. So I would much rather be in this environment. Yeah, I have to shelve my Beast Club because they're not quite there, but I know for a fact that within a year or two they're gonna be something again.
Yeah, but there's people that still bring them.
Sure.
To events. I mean, I couldn't believe this
not?
year at LVO how many Beast Claw Raider armies there were. And I was just like...
Because you know what? They are playable and they are fun to play.
Yeah.
You can't take that away. They are fun to play.
That's the beauty of Age of Sigmar.
Right.
Is like, even when you're obviously playing on the back foot with an army like that,
Mm-hmm.
okay, fine. My first 2 games, I get my ass kicked. And then I'll go down to the bottom tables where I'm going to be playing other bananas.
Yeah. Fun,
stuff.
Crazy.
And all of a sudden, I'm having the games I
And
want.
I would take Beast Claw to a narrative thing.
Oh, for sure, yeah.
Without any problem whatsoever. Because, it's going to be the same list. There's no changes that I can make. But there, at least, you can express the fact that they're fun to play in a narrative setting.
Real quick, let me ask you, as a Beast Claw lover, they were the first army that could have monsters as battle line.
Yeah.
Right? And that didn't really work out too well. Now Gristle Gore rolls around and you can have monsters as battle line.
Shut up.
And all of a sudden, they're real badass. How does it make you feel, Bill, to see Gristle Gore win tournaments? All monster. Everything you hoped that you could be. They just did what you did, but better. Everything you can do, I can do better. I get to take a trophy home because I can, and you can't, because I can, and you can't. Yeah, something like that, I guess. I don't know. Suck on that.
Yes, regularly I do. Yeah.
I don't know. It just dawned on me that it's the same concept over 2 armies, and one of them does it infinitely better than the other.
Well, and that's the whole thing. The nerf to the having the damage rule for the big.
Yeah.
Okay. Now, just about every flippin' army has something that does that, but ours had to get nerfed. Ours had to get taken away. And I'm like, all they have to do is go into the errata and say, this no longer applies, go back to the original War Scroll. And all of a sudden, those monsters go back to being very powerful, very strong, and that army becomes...
Bill, I'm going to tell you something. While I'm going to direct this at you, this is really directed at everybody who plays this beloved game. Don't ever get your hopes up about anything in regards to destruction, okay?
I know,
Come on. Just take it on the chin, baby, and keep on rolling.
It's in the name. You chose this faction.
Yep.
You are going to be destroyed.
Grand Alliance dumpster fire.
Yes. Yep.
I'm kidding.
I know, I am too.
Anyways, so, okay, what kind of grade would you give the General's Handbook 2019?
Oh, a letter grade.
From Z to A.
Okay. I'd
give it a Q. Nice solid Q. I'm just kidding.
Oh, that's a weird grade. I would probably give it an A- or a B+. A strong B+ or a weak A-.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. And that's only because some factions were not even addressed. Some factions that needed...
Oh, okay, like the Gutbusters and stuff.
Yeah,
like that. Okay.
and they weren't even... But, again, that could be...
Because they have a book coming.
Something's coming up.
Potentially.
But it also doesn't make them playable right now, which is, sort of the stated goal of the book.
They're just as deadly now as they've always been.
But overall, with all the different open play and narrative play and all the different subsystems that are in this book that you can pick and choose from, and the meeting engagements, which I think are phenomenally cool.
Yeah.
I think everything in there. No, you know what? I'm going to say screw that. No, screw the B. I'm giving it an
Give it an A, Bill. F and A, Cotton.
A-.
F and A.
What are you giving it?
I'm giving it an A.
Okay.
Yeah, there's so much stuff in this. Meeting engagement obviously gets my nipples hard. That is something that I'm looking forward to playing.
Yeah, we'll be doing here shortly. Yeah.
Definitely. I think anytime they add more and more to narrative and open play, that definitely makes me excited because that's the style of game you and I play a lot.
Yep.
So, and then...
And all the matched play changes are appropriate and intelligent.
Yeah.
Now, we haven't even hit we didn't hit the elephant in the room, which is the terrain rules. And we're not going to hit it because they've already said they're going to fix that.
Yeah, we'll cover the FAQs and erratas when they come out.
We're certainly not going to make a tempest in a teacup because they've said they're going to work it.
Yeah.
And, okay, great.
I just, I got to say, though, that when they put something out and it's not absolutely perfect when it's put out, I feel like, and they have to go back and change it, something so glaring like that, that it not only, like, cheapens it a little bit, I feel like it's a personal insult. I feel like they've called me out specifically, and they've just come at me and everything, my family, my dog,
my daughter. You brought my daughter into this.
Like they almost triggered a John Wick moment.
Wow.
By having a glaring issue in their book.
You want to hear my take on it?
What's that?
I think it's awesome that there's an error like that.
Yeah?
Yeah. Because it tells me that they are working on so many things at one time that something like that could slip through the cracks. Because everyone knows, everyone that edited, everyone that was changing this thing knew that they had, we made the changes. That's in the final copy. Yeah, we made the changes to that. And then it slips through and gets printed like that. That just means that they are so busy and they are working on so many things.
That they're so amateur that they can't focus. Just kidding. This is really just tongue in cheek on the absolute fallout that was on.
Good cop, bad cop.
Yeah. Right.
I know. When I saw the fallout that happened, I was just like, wow, you guys are so... I mean, are all of you 8 years old and you're going to cry because something... They told you flat out they're going to change that. Don't worry.
Yeah.
Well, how in the world could they let that get out of the... Okay.
Yeah. I mean, the only thing I could really understand, right, is sometimes, I guess maybe if I had to defend, if I had to die on this hill, how many people aren't that in tune with what's available in the community?
I know.
For them, like how many people are going to read that bit? And what we're talking about is the terrain issue. How many are going to read that and be like, well, what the hell? Mm-hmm. Okay, well, I guess maybe I just won't get to play with my terrain as much or whatever. And they didn't catch the fact that, like, yeah, we caught that, guys. Sorry. We'll get around to it. Guys like us obviously know about it and everything because we're...
Well, yeah, and then there's Chads that can't work the internet. So he'll never see the fact, or at least his own copy of it.
Sweet little Chad. Yeah, exactly. So I if I had to kind of empathize with that, that does kind of suck there.
Yes, but, it does.
And I think they do don't they? They got stuff in here that says, "Hey, go to our community page for updates and no, whatever."
They give all the web addresses and all that stuff. Yeah,
A+ for the buck, man. It's. Because even some of the stuff I feel like they might have felt a little short on, I kind of touched on. Yeah. It's really just armies that just needed a complete overhaul.
Yeah, and that's the whole thing is and
the General's Handbook ain't really meant to fix. It can't fix that.
That's right. And don't waste the skull sweat on it because you're not going to fix it in the 2 pages that you're not going to fix Beast Claw Raiders in 2 pages in the General's Handbook.
You're just going to...
Or KO.
Yeah, you'll just nerf a complete war scroll. Yeah. That's all. That's all you really can do.
Take your time, do what you have to do, and... Stop. Okay. So, are we about done with the General's Handbook?
Yeah. I guess the only thing to do now would be to use it to play a game.
Sure. Yeah, we can do that.
Oh, can we, Bill?
We can do a meeting.
God, can we?
Let's do a meeting engagement.
When do you want to meet for an engagement? When do you want to get engaged? Are you asking me?
Oh, Jesus.
What's going on?
God damn. I already told you once. It just had my anniversary.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
No, I think we should do a meeting engagement here sometime this weekend.
This coming weekend.
Yeah, because this is Sunday night and it's almost Monday. So
Well, we could do a meeting engagement right now.
oh god,
Do you?
my wife's in the other room. Come on, dude.
Oh.
Not a menage meeting engagement either.
Yeah. Well, everything's on the table. All right. Good Lord.
I do want to send one shout out that I didn't do in the intro.
We don't do shout outs on this show, Bill.
Oh, that's a new rule. Wasn't aware of it.
Well, now you are.
But what are you doing right now?
Goodbye.
What are you doing right now?
Ending the show.
What are you wearing?
my thong. my Hammers of Sigmar thong. Would you like this lightning bolt? Would you like to get reforged, Bill? Oh, good God. So I'm...
I'm leaving this in. This is going to bloopers.
Jesus.
Oh, my God.
I finally got a Cubic Shenanigans shirt.
Yes, you did.
I apparently complained enough that they threw me some crumbs off the table. And I got to say, I appreciate it. I don't look as good as the other guys because, they basically had the opportunity to set a fad, live through it, and then it died.
Now you're playing catch up.
And now I'm the guy that's trying to bring bell bottoms back over here. That's what I feel like. That's good looking out.
For some reason, the shout out didn't go the way I expected.
I'm glad you could pine for leftovers for me, Bill. I appreciate it. No, I'm just kidding. Thank you, guys.
Thank you, Dan. Thank you, Brandon, for at least getting that monkey off my back. Wow. What more do we have? How can we top that?
I don't know. I think that's it.
Okay, let's end it.
In the words of Bon Jovi, we went down in a blaze of glory.
Okay, so as promised earlier, I am sitting here in my game room with the one, the only, the original Matt Tucker, who is the narrative event organizer, or one of them, for the Nova Open. And this guy actually drove, 6,000 miles?
I was 2,300 miles.
Okay, so almost 6,000 miles, just to see me.
Well, yeah, so what happened was I told my wife one day, I was like, honey, get the kids, get in the truck, we're going. And she was like, where are we going? I'm like, some guy named Bill's house. He's like, it's kind of like Age of Sigmar Mecca.
Yeah.
You just go and you have to go at least once in your
lifetime, yeah.
And then she was like, on the way back, do you want to hit up White Tech? And I was like, who?
Yeah.
I'm just joking. No, I really like him too. I love it. But,
he's going to love that.
But you guys are number one.
Yeah, see?
We really, really enjoy your podcast. And in fact, we listened to quite a few of them on the way out.
Oh, nice.
And
I'm sorry.
No, not at all. And we were listening to the back ones, and Renee says to me, she goes, do you want me to fast forward through any of these parts? And I was like, no, we have to listen to every single part of every single one. It's just not, I'm not going to let you, fast forward through anything.
No, you have to suffer.
Yeah, she didn't suffer, trust me.
That's a good thing. So actually, you're out here to visit family. And it just became a great opportunity for us to get together and throw a game together and some dinner and interview for the podcast because you are still the event organizer or one of the event organizers for Nova.
Yeah, so Aaron and myself are organizing the Age of Sigmar narrative event for Nova Open this year. And we have a lot of super fun surprises for everybody. And tonight we're actually playtesting one of the battle plans, and so that's what we're doing tonight. And Bill was nice enough to invite me into his house. Let me tell you, you have a beautiful house.
Oh, thank you.
A lovely wife. And you cook. Oh, let me tell you, it was some really, really, really good cooking.
Well, good. I'm glad you enjoyed. So it's the least I can do. Because, you've been on the show before. I interviewed you while I was out there at Nova last year.
That's where we met.
Yeah, exactly. So, and that was a lot. That was I don't know if I'm still on the high from Nova last year, because now I'm starting to feel that climb towards Nova this year.
Oh, yeah. I know how you feel. Like, after Nova, we were all jazzed and pumped.
Oh, yeah.
And then we had that, like, November low, but then we had the March high, and then we sold out. And
Yeah.
added a couple more seats, sold out of those.
Yeah. Well, the Nova narrative sold out in minutes.
Yeah.
Really?
It was as soon as it opened up.
Yep.
It sold right out. And to that end, I would like to let you guys know that we opened up a couple of additional events on Thursday night. So we have like a RTT, like a nice friendly tournament.
Yeah.
So that still has a couple seats open.
Sweet.
So if anybody would like to get in a little bit of organized play, it's still open.
Good deal. I'm flabbergasted. I mean, I know it's the 10th anniversary for Nova, but so many of those events just sold out so fast. It's crazy.
Oh, definitely. Definitely. I was very surprised. Almost everything sold out within minutes. And some things, even the GT sold out, I think, within the weekend.
Wow. That's crazy. And honestly, yeah, that's the AOS GT, and Chuck Moore is running that again.
Yeah, Chuck, let me tell you, he's a really, really good guy. I've had to talk with him a couple of times on, we do every month we do a chat, and just a consummate professional. Same with Aaron. I'll tell you, we roll like peas in a pod.
Well, okay, I can see Chuck, but Aaron?
Yeah. No, I'll tell you, here's the thing with Aaron. He's super exciting, and he's one of the best friends that you'll ever have. So, one thing I could say about him is, if you're in a fight, he's got your corner. He's got your back, Super awesome.
That's nice. That's good to hear. So I'm probably going to have to get in a fight with him now. So
Yeah, definitely.
So let's talk about, we're not going to give any details on the scenario because that would be bad. But we actually played a game, or we played the first turn of a game.
Yep.
Because at the end of the first turn, it was looking pretty bleak for one of us. And I'll just say right now that it wasn't you that it was bleak for.
Well, I felt really bad. Yeah. I felt really bad because I was like, oh no, the end of this, like he charged everything at my Skaven.
Yeah.
Across a full line.
Yep.
And I thought to myself, oh no.
Yeah.
Oh no. And that, so what we're going to do, we're going to go back and we're going to add a couple more things on the side of Nurgle, and we're going to finish this game up because not only is it a good time, we've had a lot of highs and lows, and of course I always do more everything, more rockets, more warp lightning, more everything. I blew up my warpfire thrower.
Yeah, he's already gone, isn't he?
Yep, he
that
absolutely
poor
is.
fella. That was actually pretty comical because he blew a unit of, he blew up a unit of 20 plague bearers, and then he proceeded to kill himself. So I think you won that trade. So, yeah.
Quite possibly, but hey, I would have liked it even if only one had died.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Life is cheap, right?
Exactly. And, it's, without going into details on the scenario, the more blood that flows, I should have played Corn, huh?
Yeah.
But no, the in this scenario, the more death there is, the better it is for both sides, really.
Yeah. So I don't mind going into a little bit of it. The scenario is set up to where you record the amount of wounds or damage that's taken on your turn by either you or your opponent.
Right.
And at the end of both of your turns, whomever had the most wounds on their turn, either done to them or they do to somebody else, they're the ones that control the objective.
Right.
And there are a couple of other little twists, but that is essentially how it works. And so we were both kind of thinking to ourselves, how can we really slay the most enemies, or have, like, at the end of my turn, I was thinking to myself, oh, come on, bounce those wounds back. Come on,
I know.
Great unclean one.
That was the funniest part, is every time I was bouncing wounds back, I was like, oh, that sucks.
I was like, yeah, give me more wounds. Come on.
I know. Oh, it was terrible. Just terrible.
That was great.
But I actually, in my own defense, I was trying to do as much damage with a first turn strike as I could with Nurgle, knowing that I'd probably never get that opportunity again. And I honestly thought my guys would stick around a little bit longer with the death save. And I I was rolling really hot for attacks, but I was not rolling good for saves.
No, not at all.
Wow.
Let me tell you, you failed those death saves, and that was key.
Yeah, it was terrible.
But you had 35 wounds on your turn, which was really good.
Yeah.
And I was thinking to myself, oh my God, how am I ever going to match that?
Yeah. But it happened.
I was very surprised.
I was just, when that whole unit just kind of evaporated because I couldn't roll the death saves, I was like, or the Nurgle saves, I was like, wow, I think I rolled, 2 or 3 out of 17?
Yeah, you did. You rolled.
Or 5.
It was not.
Wasn't pretty.
No.
No.
At all.
So, but anyway, that was our game, which was in progress because we broke off after the first turn. And please understand, we're play testing the scenario, so we're going to go in and fudge with stuff and sort of continue from where we were. So
yeah, we're gonna toss another Great Unclean one on his side and a couple more Plague Bearers and have him summon some things because I really need the play tests.
Yeah, we need the stress testing. So yeah,
definitely. This
is more like an edge test. What happens if a stupid player gets a hold of this scenario?
Oh, that was me, not you.
No.
He just let me, kill all of his guys because he was like, oh, I'm just going to be the consummate host.
Yeah, that was it. Oh, no, that's not me.
Hey, while we're just sitting here, can I ask you something?
Sure.
What do you think your co-host thinks about Stormcast?
Well,
Stormcast are cool.
That's it. Oh, man. I did ask you to play that.
Yes, you did. That's definitely going in the blooper reel.
I'm really sorry about that, but I had to.
Stormcast are cool.
Every time I hear it, I always laugh. Every time. I giggle. I'll be at work in a cubicle doing serious work, and all of a sudden the person beside me will hear,
yeah. Stormcast are cool. Yeah, he's well known for that one. Okay, so let's turn from there, and I want to talk about a little subject about Nova that you're probably not ready for because I didn't hit you with this before. But this is the surprise part of the show. So this is going to be one of the first years that the General's Handbook didn't come out like a week before Nova.
Yeah.
So are you guys in the narrative? And please understand, this is not the GT. We're talking about the narrative event. Mm-hmm. Are you guys going to embrace the General's Handbook stuff, or have you thought about it much, or, are you predicting anything now at this point?
Well, we actually do have a timeline for that, and we established this timeline before as soon as we knew where the General's Handbook was going to come out, we established a timeline. And that timeline is we get 2 weeks after it comes out to look at it, pour through it, get my greasy little paws on it. And same with Aaron. And then we are going to do a call with anybody that's involved. And then we're going to discuss, should this be in? Should this be out? Should we allow this in if they're optional roles or what have you? And mind you, every single thing that we think about, it'll always be, oh, hey, is this going to contribute to the fun that our players are going to have? Everything. It's never going to be like, oh, well, will this unbalance something? Or will this give some player an advantage? It's always going to be, are you going to have more fun with this than not?
Yep.
And so a couple of days ago, we were chatting about adding different things to the sportsmanship scores. We, of course, expect everybody to be a good sport.
Yeah.
That's just what you do. But then we saw this little checklist from GW, and it had certain things like, oh, are you going to shake your opponent's hand after the game? And we are still thinking about whether we want to implement any of those. And keep in mind, I saw what you posted, Bill, and I understand. We immediately thought to ourselves, oh my gosh, we have to look at this with the furthest back grain of salt.
Yeah.
And just really make sure that we're, accommodating every type of person that's coming into this event and making sure that everybody is comfortable and having fun. Because that's really the only reason why we do it is for people to have fun.
Yeah.
So, yes, we will be implementing certain things. I can't say what those things are right now just because we haven't had the meeting yet.
Yeah, sure.
But yeah, we will. And especially if we're going to shamelessly borrow from certain aspects.
Yeah.
For our battle plans, because we have to make up all all brand new battle plans. We don't want
Yeah.
to say, okay, well, everybody's going to have this battle plan and go ahead and everybody turn to page 64 of your general handbook and do that battle plan. Because we kind of did that last year. Last year was a big focus on getting the terrain up to snuff.
Yeah.
And this year is going to be a focus on taking that terrain and making battle plans around it.
Oh, nice. Yeah.
So,
Theme the game to the table.
exactly.
Yeah.
And we want to use realms, but we don't want to say, okay, well, here's 87,000 extra rules for this battle plan that you have to remember. We want one good key, like swing thing, like one, what do you call it? Like a, help me out here.
I'm trying to think of what you're getting at.
We're going to have one twist.
Yeah.
And that twist is going to be something that both of the players can easily remember throughout the game. And we don't want to say, oh, well, okay, well, this is this and that's that, and keep this in the back of your mind, and here's a new command ability, and here's a couple more artifacts for you to remember. And,
Yeah.
we're going to try and simplify things and make sure that everything is nice and simple. Same thing with, I don't know if you sort of remember, but we're doing this build a hero thing.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
And everybody's going to start with the same profile.
Right.
And then a starter set of like bonus points. And then after that, they're going to be able to add on after each game.
Yeah.
And it's not going to be super powerful, but it's going to be thematic.
Sure.
And it's supposed to represent kind of like you in a game.
Your avatar. Yeah. That's the same thing I'm doing for LVO is
Exactly.
you're going to start out with, I think you guys are going with just one standard template. I'm going to have 4.
Well, we're going to have one, but let's say you bring an archer.
Yeah.
The build points that you initially receive will be enough to differentiate yourself from, say, a horse warrior or like an actual wizard or what have you. And at the end, you'll have a good little hero.
Right.
So
Yeah, but a little more reined in perhaps than last year.
very much reined in.
Yeah.
You will not see killer combos in there, but it will be something that's useful.
Yeah. Yeah.
Useful, but not over the top.
Yep.
And we're playtesting that right now.
Sweet.
Trying to break
Sweet.
it.
Well, yeah. Edge cases. That's what you got to have.
Exactly.
I hate edge cases. Oh, man, I hate that stuff. But you got to do it. Getting back to the point you brought up about the GW in the new General's Handbook putting out that, the Robert's Rules of Gaming, if you will. I read that with a little bit of trepidation when they put it in the White Dwarf. And not because I don't agree with every bit of it. But it strikes me as so strange that we have to write that stuff down. Why do we have to write down don't cheat?
Yeah, no, I agree. And, whenever I go into an FLGS, and this is especially true with my one at home, and I've been to your FLGS here, and you could see right on the window, there's like pretty much, don't be a jerk.
Yeah.
That's the number one rule. And
Yeah.
that encompasses everything. Don't cheat, don't dice fudge, don't, explain everything about your army, and try not to smash a baby seal.
Don't be that guy.
Yeah.
That guy that everybody has a story about. Don't be that guy. So.
And a lot of the things that you're talking about, the trepidations that you have, that's really, and I think that it's just GW thinking, oh, this is a really cool little set of events to put down just in case people are really new and just, I came into the hobby yesterday and I'm coming to my first tournament.
Yeah.
What are the things that I should expect? Oh, well, look, I never knew I was supposed to shake somebody's hand.
Yeah.
Well, maybe if I'm comfortable with that, that sounds cool. You know? Oh, that's a givens.
Right. Yeah, and like I said, I don't disagree with absolutely anything they wrote. I mean, it's all on point, good, smart stuff. But the idea that you have to have it written down for you is just what makes me go, really?
Yeah.
Because I don't think I would ever think of not doing the things on that list, with the exception of shaking hands, because not everybody likes that. But, I mean, just the whole idea of, being on time to a game, having all your stuff together, which when I'm playing at home, I generally don't have my stuff together, as you well know. But
hey, you were on point. You had all your stuff. I don't know what you're talking about. It took me 30 minutes to get everything out.
yeah, no, it took me longer. But if I'm at a tournament, I literally have everything in my bag that I need, and if I don't have it, I either go out and get it or I just make do without. I figure out a way. But you just never treat someone else like that. But anyway, we're getting into we're getting into the weeds, if you will.
True.
So, what I wanted to get and sort of ring out of you now is last year, you were the architect of a siege battle that took place Friday night?
Yeah, Friday night.
Friday night. And I think that was probably like one of the most fun things I've ever done in Age of Sigmar or wargaming, all told.
Oh, well, thank you very much.
It
That's
was-
an extremely nice compliment.
It was that game was a blast. I think everybody had fun there. But I understand you're going to take it up a notch.
Absolutely. Let's start with the number one thing. Last year, the siege lasted approximately 2 hours.
Yeah.
This year, 4 to 5
Nice.
or more.
Yeah.
But we're honestly looking at about 4 to 5 hours, and we're going to get 5 rounds
Yeah.
done. And it's going to be at least 30 people.
Wow.
15 on each side.
Jeez.
We've got 18 feet of wall, and I'd say probably about 13 houses and various sets of trees and all kinds of stuff.
All themed for just the siege.
Just the siege. And we're currently in the process of finishing to paint that up. So I'm going to actually fly home in a couple days and take 2 weeks and just paint everything, the rest of it up,
Wow.
and leave the family here.
Yeah, for some reason the word crazy springs to my mind. But
Hey, this is going to be awesome.
it's going to be epic. I am so looking forward to this. It's crazy. Can't even tell you. So, yeah, just...
Well, the second thing I can tell you is we have kept a lot of the rules from last year pretty much in place. The number of things you have to do to a wall, 10 wounds to a wall, regeneration of walls.
Yep.
And I'm going to go down to my hobby shop with, I think we have a 4-on-4 game, and try to play test it a couple times just to make sure everything runs smooth. And it's going to be the same thing as last time. Monsters and war machines can hurt the walls, and nobody else can.
Yeah, yeah.
But monsters and war machines can't go on the walls.
Yeah.
Now, here's another thing we're gonna throw at you. It's another curveball. Defenders will have options to do various things, like we're thinking about adding defensive points to the walls, because they have some in the walls that we purchased.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. And so those were all purchased, by the way, from Tabletop World.
Oh, yeah?
And the guys that they got them out, number one, they got them out super fast. I was expecting an honest to God, like 2-month delivery period, and they got it out to us in like 2 weeks.
Wow.
Yeah. Number two, it was highly detailed. And I'm talking, I've never seen resin with no flash on it.
Oh, wow.
And it was all already assembled. They assembled everything.
Wow. And those are really gorgeous, too. I mean, I've seen the pictures. They're just phenomenal.
And they're textured inside and out, and they come apart in like 3 or 4 different spots.
Super good plug for those guys. What was that company again?
Tabletop World. It's tabletopworld.com. If you don't mind, I'm
No,
sorry.
please.
I should ask. The guy's name that I spoke with was Mladen, and they were just great.
Oh, cool. I mean, anybody that does service like that should get a shout out. So.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. So we're really happy with the results, and I know our players are going to be.
Nice. Well, I know last year it was just an absolute hoot, so I can't see how it could. I mean, I'm planning on stealing your rule set for LVO.
I believe the term that we professionals use is you are going to acclimate the rule set for use in another time zone. No, I'm just joking. I completely understand. And hey, I'll give you whatever you like.
Yeah.
Anything you need, just let me know.
See? I mean, this is how we make. Yeah, it's funny. Aaron started up that new chat group the other day. We were having that back and forth, that discourse, and he was like, "Wow, you solved the problem with this," and I'm like, "Wow, who knew? Free of exchange of ideas on an open and mobile platform might actually work."
I know, right?
Who knew?
Yeah, Aaron loves his chat groups.
Oh my god,
He definitely does.
I think what Alex told him, that if you create one more, I will hunt you down and kill you.
Yeah.
I nearly died laughing when I saw that. That was so funny.
I was like, yeah, I will too. No, I'm just joking, Aaron. I wouldn't do that.
I don't know how many chat groups I'm in with Aaron right now, but it's definitely more than like my wife.
8.
Yeah. Oh, is it 8? That
For
what we
me.
have? Yeah, I
8.
can't think. I'm wasting, and this is great radio, me thinking about how many chat groups. Yay!
Let me show you some pictures of the wall while I'm here.
Yeah.
You know, you just,
Hey, look at this.
no joke though. I actually did show you some pictures of the wall, and
Yes.
you know, what did you think?
It's amazing. I mean, it is and I saw the painted version that you've made up already, and that is just, it's over the top.
Oh, thank you.
Outstanding. It's going to really throw people for a loop, I'm pretty sure.
It's made for 25 millimeter heroic. So on the battlements, you can fit 2 Stormcast, 2 50 millimeter bases side by side.
Nice.
Yep. All down those battlements.
Cannot beat that. That is absolutely outstanding. So what else do you want to tell us about Nova, or what do you want and can tell us about the Nova narrative?
Well, I can tell you whatever you like. I'm no secrets here. I'm an open book. But,
Okay, so how do I make sure I win?
well, number one, you have to have the best story, and you have to convince the other players to go along with your story. So last year, I believe that the reason why one of the factions got as far as they did was because they were convinced to make a drug and then sell that drug.
Oh, yeah. Oh,
Seidel.
Paul.
Forever.
Yeah.
Yeah. So if you think about it, that was like when you can convince another group of wargamers to go along with your plan, and it alters the storyline in such a fundamental way. That's how you win.
You win. You're the winner. I love it. That is so cool. Oh man, that was so much fun last year. It was crazy.
That was a lot of fun.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. And we're gonna have just as much fun this year.
I
Guaranteed.
cannot wait. I'm actually sad that we're not actually like hawking it because it was sold out.
Yeah, I feel bad that it's sold out, and we can't add any more because like 30 is our absolute max. We can't tell a story if there's more than that.
And that's just it. It's not a thing where you can just add more seats.
Yeah,
there's a lot more to it than that in a narrative game.
Exactly, because I mean we have to build all the tables ourselves. We're not relying on anybody else but us to build those tables, and then we have to think of battle plans for the tables, and then we have to think, how does this fit into our storyline?
Mm-hmm.
So that everybody's contributing in some way.
Yeah, I mean that's the crazy part of narrative is you're telling a much grander story. What was it we said in the chat the other day? Competitive players fight battles, narrative players fight wars.
Yes.
And that's kind of what you're having to put together is a whole war, not just, oh, look, my 2,000 points hit your 2,000 points. Yay.
Yeah, like we were talking about before, Paul was able to change hearts and minds. And that's how you win wars, right?
That's
hearts
right.
and minds.
Yep. That was awesome.
Yeah, that's going to be awesome. I can't wait.
Yeah, me too.
So let's see. What else can I tell you? We are going to have some battles in different realms.
Okay.
Because we'll have some tables that are realm specific. And you'll be able to use that realm's rules if you choose. I'm not going to say, oh, well, here's a bunch of extra rules that you may or may not have. But all the rules will be at the table. The battle plans will be at the table. Anything extra will be at the table. 1 copy for you, 1 copy for your opponent. So nobody will have to share. Everything will be on the up and up.
Nice. So now that we've covered kind of Nova, the burning question here is, what do you think about the desolate wasteland of Albuquerque, New Mexico?
When we entered New Mexico and we saw the sign, I took a picture and I said, "We've now entered the desolate wastelands of Albuquerque, New Mexico." And my wife rolled her eyes.
Oh yeah.
And I was like, "Don't you roll your eyes." So another thing that's funny is one day we went over a friend's house and they had a bunch of dragonflies for some reason. And I don't know why, but somebody left the window down. I don't know if it was me or if it was me, but it was probably me. And one of the dragonflies came in to our window and then died on our dash. Very sad.
Oh.
So we took it cross country.
Nice.
So now we have a picture of that dragonfly and all the welcome signs. Yep.
How cool is that?
That'll be excellent. So one thing that we're definitely going to do, and I'll tell you, New Mexico is actually very nice. I have had a lot of fun not suffering through humidity.
Oh yeah.
Because DC, just humid central. It's
Yeah.
like a swamp.
Yeah, it's a swamp out there right now, and it's not getting any better anytime soon.
But I've worked outside for 3 days now, and I feel fine. I feel fantastic.
Yep.
helping my mother-in-law out.
Yeah.
But we definitely intend to go down into Texas because we're going to hit the Warhammer Citadel.
Oh, you got to go to Grapevine. It's so worth it.
We absolutely are. Yeah. Yep. And then we're going to come back up and we're just going to go home.
Nice. Very nice. Well, I'm so glad you got a chance to stop by because it's really awesome. Absolutely awesome to see you again for one thing and then to get a game in. And we're going to continue our game.
Well, thank you so much for letting me come into your beautiful home and, game with you. It's been a lot of fun and I really, really have enjoyed it. And I don't get to travel cross country and actually, play with my friends very much. So
yeah.
I really thank you for this opportunity. I mean, it's really great.
Cool. Well, outstanding. All right. So I guess we're going to call it and we're going to get back to our game. And I don't know where this is going to go in the show, but hopefully you'll hear more from us soon.
Yeah, absolutely. And if you like to hear from me, then I'll let you hear more at Nova if you like.
Yes. I will have all my recording gear with me and I will definitely be fishing for interviews. So
excellent. Well, Stormcast are cool.
Stormcast are cool.
I love that.
Oh, sweet. All right, I'm quitting.
Thanks.
Yep. If you would like to get in touch with us, you can reach us on our Facebook page, www.facebook.com/rollingbadpodcast, all one word. Our Patreon page is at www.patreon.com/rollingbadpodcast, again, all one word. The Twitter account for the show is at rolling_bad, and our individual Twitter accounts are, for me, at Bill Castello, Castello, and for Ryan, he is at RT Gamer. All of our guests on the show will have their contact information in the show notes, and any products that we mention will also be similarly placed in the show notes. The music for the show is used courtesy of Kevin MacLeod at Incompetech.com and used under the Creative Commons license.
Stormcast are cool.
And whenever you'd like to begin. Ooh, are you going to beatbox through this?
Yeah, I'm going to drop some lines, some bars.
Going to drop some beats?
Yeah. All right. Yes.
Excrement.
Stormcast are cool. Bad Podcast, episode number 70.
One.
God damn it, Bill.
I forgot to change it.
Like I keep track of what number we're on.
Good start.
Yeah, here we go. And a one, and a two. Stormcast are cool.
Almost like the first. Did you hear me just whistle through my teeth? That was crazy.
That was awesome.
I've never done that before.
Like suffering.
Jesus, Matt, you're a bad influence on me, man.
I'm sorry.
Yeah.